A lone swordsman walks into a nightmare. One wrong step and he's hunted by demons, betrayed by allies, and forced into battles that push him to the edge of death.
The Vagabond in Exyamashiro Ninja. Juba crosses a bridge, but is ambushed by a rival ninja group for undercutting them on his last job. He quickly dispatches them while eating a rice ball. Now, half naked, the only conscious attacker is baffled by how low he charged the client given his skill level. They didn't have the money, so Jubai considered them and accepted their offer. While he exits the bridge, a nasty storm starts to brew. As the storm intensifies, 8 ominous riders make their way to a cliff to observe something. Coincidentally, Shimoda village has been devastated by some sort of plague. It has killed all the residents except for a young woman. She zombie walks her way to a neighboring village to inform them of the mass death. She seems to be controlled by a mysterious figure in the shadows. After delivering the message, plus a healthy dose of virus, she passes out and dies. Fearing for their lives, the surrounding villages evacuate after witnessing the death. Back at the Mochizuki clan's estate, Hanzo reports to Sakurai, who is the clan's chamberlain, about a sighting of the ominous riders near Shimoda the night before the outbreak. He orders Hanzo and the rest of the Koga team to investigate. They gather to discuss the plan, but they are interrupted by the Kunoichi. She expresses her intention to join the mission. Hanzo is against the idea, since she is the poison tester for their lord. He's away currently, so she wants to resume her ninja duties. So Hanzo reluctantly agrees. The team head out, but are massacred by Tasai and Yorimaru before they reach the village. Hanzo is gravely injured, but instructs Kajero to go report the situation to Sakai. As she tries to escape, Tesai captures her. He takes her back to their camp and gets a bit too touchy. Pretending to be lost, Jubai interrupts, which annoys the giant. He throws a knife at his eye, creating an opening for both him and Kagero to escape. Now, beyond annoyed, Tesai prepares to make chase, but Yorimaru orders him to stand down. A Tokugawa spy watches as he does the old wise guy beard stroke. Now, out of danger, the two introduce themselves. Kagero thanks her rescuer as they both part ways. When she is finally alone, she releases her strong facade, breaking down crying. She reports the massacre back to the Chamberlain. He commands her to go back to the village solo to gather information before he commits more men. Meanwhile, Tesai tracks down Jubai, and a melee breaks out between the two. The brute has the supernatural ability to harden his body, which renders Jubai's attacks ineffective. As the battle rages on, his rock-hard body starts to crumble. The vagabond takes advantage and cuts him, allowing his own blade to finish him off. Tesai frantically tries to crush the ninja's face in an attempt to also bring him down, but he breaks free. Impressed with his swordsmanship, Dakuan tries to recruit him, but Jubai is not interested. The old spy informs him that Tesai was a member of an infamous ninja team named the 8 Devils of Kaimon. With a member dead, they will surely come after him. Yorimaru updates a fellow member of the Devils named Genma of their progress. Zakuro, who is also a member, professes her love for Yorimaru while trying to seduce him. He shuts that nonsense rapid warning her and dismisses her to stand guard. Benazato, one of Tesai's comrades, inspects the aftermath of the fight. She finds that he got an impression of Jubai's face when he grabbed him. She utilizes this to track him to a hot spring where he's tending to his injuries. Benazato uses her snake abilities to bewitch him. Whilst preparing to deal the final bite, a random shuriken hits Jubai, making him gain his senses. He swiftly counters the attack and apprehends Benazato, but she escapes by shedding her skin. He passes the shuriken back to Dakuan since he threw it. The spy continues his information dump, alerting Juba that 8 devils work for the Shogun of the Dark. He wishes to rebuild the house of Toyotomi, the ex-ruler of Japan. He attempts to recruit Jubai again, but this time he offers to pay 100 gold pieces for his service. The devils killed everyone else in his party, so he's desperate for strong assistance. Jubai is still not moved to join. Left with no other option, he reveals that he poisoned the shuriken, which will kill him soon. An old man Dakuan is the only one that knows the antidote. He promises to give him the antidote plus the 100 gold pieces when the job is done. Jubai is forced to become a party member. As they say, if you can't get them to join, poison them. They proceed to their objective by boat. Jubai learns that the leader of the devils is Himuro. He was also the former Yamashiro ninja leader, Jubai's ex-boss. 5 years earlier, they found their clan's secret gold mine. Genma ordered his team members to kill each other to cover it up. Juba was forced to kill his comrades to survive. Outraged, he took revenge by killing his team leader, so he is staggered that he is still alive. Genma has mastered the technique of reincarnation by controlling his body down to the tiniest bone. Once they land ashore, a thick fog separates them. Shijima and Benazato capitalize by launching an attack. However, Kajero repays her debt and saves Jubai. She's bitten as a result of her bravery, but she manages to apprehend Benazato. Before she can be questioned, she is killed by Yoromaru from afar due to her consistent failure. Jubai tries to suck the poison from Kagaro's leg, but gets a knee to the face. Her body is infused with deadly toxins, so she is immune to it. Anyone that kisses her or has relations with her dies. That is why Jubai was able to kill Tessai. Dokuan persuades Kajero to join them since they have a common enemy. The ragtag ninja team finally make it to Shimoda village. Upon investigation, they discovered the villagers were poisoned. The epidemic was used as a cover to keep people away. Mushiso, a member of the Devils, sends a swarm of killer hornets to silence the trio. Kajero keeps the hornets at bay, while Jubi finds and kills Mushiso. With the Devil's attention now on the ninja, Dokuan goes ahead, leaving them as a duo. The poison is really starting to spread in Jubai's system. They make their way to high ground to get a better look of the area where they spot Hanza heading to the end of a cliff. Kajero rushes to her comrade only to realize he has been mutilated. Jubi notices Zikuro setting off a charge. He tackles Kojiro as Hanza explodes. The duo narrowly escape as they pull themselves from the cliff. Mujiro waits for them at the top and challenges Jubi to a duel. Though blind Mujiro is very skillful, but he is beaten by the vagabond. Things intensifies between Jubai and Kajero as they have a little squabble. From the high ground, they notice a ship that wrecked during the storm. The cargo on board was so sensitive that they killed the people in the village to prevent information from getting out, and exhausted Kajero faints. So they use this opportunity to get some rest before following. Some tracks to the Kashima harbor. Offshore ninjas of the Dark Shogun prepared to make their move. At Kashima, the trio reunite, but the town is empty due to the fake epidemic. Dokuan reveals that the precious cargo is in fact gold from the secret Yamashiro clan's mine, and it was on its way to the Shogun of the Dark. That amount of gold would make them powerful enough to topple the current government, which could send the country into a civil war. As they discuss, Shogun mounts a surprise attack. Kajero quickly sends this information back to Sakari by bird. Jubai manages to injure Shogun, forcing him to flee, so he pursues to finish him off. Meanwhile, Kajero confronts Dokuan about the poison he used on Jubai. It turns out that she has fallen in love with him. Seeing this, the old spy tells her that she must have relations with him to counter the poison. Elsewhere, Shijima uses a fox as a decoy to lure Jubai away, and uses the opportunity to double back to kidnap Kajero. Against Dekuin's advice, Jubai makes his way to rescue his new friend. The kidnapper uses some ninjutsu to manipulate Kajero to attack Jubai, but it's released when he's killed. She is confused as to why he came, knowing it was a trap. Moved by this, she makes Jubai aware that the only way he can be cured is to have relations with her. She offers herself, but being a Chad and not a simp, he only embraces her before leaving. At the port, Dokuan and Jubai watch as the Dark Shogun's men start loading the gold into the ship like an army of ants. There are too many of them, so they hatch a plan to sink the ship. Cupid over here asks if he did the deed with Kajero to save his life. But Juba throws him away like trash, telling him to get into position. Thinking that Sakari has rallied men based on her report, Kajero exposes herself to meet them. She is stabbed by Genma in disguise. He killed Sakari and his men to impersonate them. Jubai witnesses everything, and in a fit of rage cuts his way through a stupid number of enemies. Urameru pleads with Genma to give him the honor of killing Jubai, to which he agrees to. He ambushes the ninja, although he's able to cut himself free before a rat rigged with gunpowder explodes. Unable to escape in time, the explosion kills Urameru. It was set by Sekiro, intended for Urameru as payment for rejecting her advances. With all the gold on board, the leader of the Devils orders them to set sail. Meanwhile, Jubei finds Kajero on death's bed. She confesses her love for him. They share a passionate kiss, which cures his poisoning. She also gives her headband to him and dies succumbing to her wounds. After laying her to rest, he boards the sailing ship by riding his horse into the ocean. On board, Genma reveals his true intention to use the gold to raise a ninja, to rule the country with terror rather than ally with the Shogun of the Dark. He then proceeds to kill the Shogun's representative. Below deck, the ragtag duo douse Sekiro in flammable oil and set her on fire, which causes a huge explosion. As everyone jumps overboard, Genma and Jubai engage in a brutal fight. Due to his extraordinary healing, Jubei can only stop Genma by cutting him into the molten gold encasing him. He sinks to the bottom of the sea along with the ship. With a civil war averted, Dokwan thanks his partner. Jubai resumes his vagabond lifestyle, with Kagero's headband tied around his sword's hilt as a memento.
Hit that subscribe, baby.